Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Yeah.
Can I make you groove now? Yes, I can. So you can get this groove in the back of a can. You can make it round the world when the holes in your hand. Popcorn World. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. I said popcorn make you smile. Ah. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. It's a popcorn world. It's a popcorn world.
Now it's time for Believe in the ACC with our starting lineup. From Florida State, number 17, Charlie Ward. From Morehead State University, number 50, Lloyd Span. And from Murray State University, number 2, Kendrick Haskett. Get ready for the best sports show about the ACC in all the land. Believe in the ACC starts now.
It takes a little work, but I'm gonna get it. It's an important whistle. It's an important whistle.
That's a great jingle.
Thank you, Charlie Ward. Shout out to production for coming up with a very, very catchy tune there. We like it. We like it. Was that a flex?
Flex on who? Yeah, it's flex on the production department. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a flex on the production. No question about it.
And that was a humble flex.
I'm sure how humble the flex was.
It was humble. It was humble because you yet to find out who it is. So there you go. But you probably have your inklings. You have your inklings. This is Believe in the ACC. To my knowledge, one of the longest running ACC podcasts out there. Been on 5 years, you know.
I can't believe it's already been 5 years. That's crazy.
I mean, listen. We've done a lot of good work here, is what I'm saying. A lot of good work here.
Time flies.
Time flies. It's getting better and better all the time. I'm Lloyd Spitz. That's Kendrick Haskett. That's the great Charlie Ward. We're all here. We want to start in the most necessary place to start. We normally would save this for the end, but we're not saving for the end because I just want to know. Our brother, Charlie Ward, took his mighty team up last week to play on Thursday. When we left this show, it was on Thursday. They were going to play, and it was about to be on and popping. And, Charlie, how did it go?
Well, it didn't come out the way we would like, but it was a great environment to be in.
Yeah.
And we ended up losing the game. But they were the better team on that night. Just weren't able to execute on either end. We held them down to, they scored 61 points, which is it's a good number for a good quality team.
Right.
We just couldn't score. We missed a lot of open shots and turned it over.
Weren't they like the number 2 team in the state?
They are.
I like how you call them a quality team. It's
I mean, but
yeah.
they're not. They weren't like that. Like you would think.
No, I
Uh,
get what you're saying.
but
I
they
get what you're
were.
saying.
They're a good team.
To me, Charlie, the worst thing as a coach is to leave your win on the court when you know it was right there for you. That is the worst. It's one thing to be blown out. If a team blows me out, they're a great team. Nothing I could have done. I've done everything I could do. My guys gave what they gave. They are a better team. But when you know you left the win on the court because of little things that you've been talking about, that you've been preaching all season, that's hard, Kendrick. That's very hard.
That's probably how France felt after the gold medal game in the Olympics.
That's interesting. That's an interesting comparison. Charlie, have you seen Court of Gold yet? Have you had a chance to see Court of Gold yet on Netflix? Okay, when you get a chance, go back. It's a 6-part sports documentary of what happened in the Olympics and
in the men's
basketball, and the last episode is their understanding of how that last went. France and USA's understanding of how the last game went. They could not have done more to win that game if they tried. They everything that they needed to go right went right, and then that darn Steph Curry started. Steph Curry.
and to hear Steph Curry talk about that fourth quarter, I mean, it's amazing. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great documentary.
See his perspective of it, and then in the first episode, Kevin Durant talking about his love for the game. Man, have the Kleenex close.
I was not Charlie. I was not prepared. I had to repent. I had to actually repent. I openly repent and say, "Okay, Lord, I'm wrong. It's me. I was wrong. I was wrong."
Yeah. I mean, he put the work in. Definitely puts the work in. I don't think that's ever been questioned as far as his love for the game.
It's deeper than I thought, though. It's way deeper than I thought.
There's just some other things that.
But I've always been a KD fan from day one, and Charlie, I get what you're saying with the other things. It's going back and forth with people on Twitter all the time, but just his game, just watching him play has always been a treat, and then to hear him talk about how much he loves the game and to see him get emotional about it, it's a really good documentary.
I'm not sure we were wrong. I'm not sure we were wrong, Charlie, about anything we assessed him as, except we also need to really understand that he loves basketball. Like I think a lot of us may have deeply underestimated the level of passion that he has for basketball. Like he gets what basketball has done for him and his family, and a lot of times I think we forget the human side of the guys that we're watching on the screen because they are on our screen. So, Charlie Ward eats regular stuff because he's a regular dude. Like he's human and he does regular things that you and I do. Yeah, he does have a Heisman Trophy, but that's just one of the things he did in his life. So,
he won a national championship.
So he won a national championship. Yeah, okay. But he also is going to walk his dog this afternoon. So there you go. Because that's also who Charlie Ward is. So there you go.
Yeah. God-fearing man.
God-fearing man, right? Right. So anyway, we digress. But great show that we got planned today for you. I got some real thoughts and questions for you guys today in regards to the ACC. Of course, the official pastor of Noise Media would come on and say repentance is good for the soul.
Thanks, Reverend Dr. Franklin.
We appreciate that, Doctor. Got me repenting first thing in the morning. Right, standing right before the altar with oil on my forehead. There you go. There you go. I got some real questions that I have had time to consider over the last few days in regards to the ACC, because we are headed to March. There's probably about a week and a half left of quote unquote regular basketball.
9
and
days
then we're
left
off.
in the regular
And
season.
I was saying for the women, I think it's less than that, right? This
is the last week. This is the last week of the regular season
for the women. So there are some last ditch efforts that must be made for teams. Huge game tonight. Mainly probably for seeding both in the ACC tournament and also for the national tournament for both teams, I would say, in Florida State and Notre Dame. What is left to do for certain teams in the ACC? And I want to start at the back end as opposed to, or is there anything left to do for teams in the ACC? And I want to start at the back end. So let's look at a team like California and Georgia Tech for the women, and maybe I don't know, Duke maybe as well. Duke's had a weird slide this past week or so, because they got the win against Louisville, but it was
Louisville beat Duke.
Was okay. They beat which team lost to Duke? Somebody lost.
Duke won on Sunday, I believe. Let's see. I've got it right here.
Win.
Somebody lost.
Duke beat Syracuse on Sunday.
Syracuse, that's what it was. Oh, that's Syracuse. My apologies. Syracuse won, which is not good, by the way.
They beat them 80-49. Yeah, that was
right, which is not good. So, but I don't think it will affect them as far as I don't think it will. I don't know. So I'm asking Duke, the back end of the women, Duke, California, Georgia Tech. Is the ACC going to get their 9 in, or is it more like if you're ranked by Friday or by the end of Saturday or the end of Sunday, you're probably in and everybody else is probably going to have to pray for a miracle? What are you guys thinking on that one?
Who's the 19?
So I solidly have Notre Dame, NC State, North Carolina, Louisville, Florida State,
Duke
in.
Cal's probably in at 22-7, 10-6 in conference.
That's the one that made me go.
I think they're in right now. Just looking at the standings, Charlie, the cutoff for teams. I think they'll make. Virginia Tech may have a shot. They're 17-10, 8-8 in conference. After that, the rest of that's not going. So your bubble teams are most likely Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech, and maybe Cal's 22-7. I can't see them not making the tournament.
Right.
Virginia Tech right now is, according to Charlie Cream, is the last team in. So if Virginia Tech is in, that's got to mean Georgia Tech and Cal are in.
Yeah.
But I see them getting in. They've had good years this year. Good in the sense of, being consistent. In a sense of middle of the road or middle of the road type of team.
Yeah, they beat Cal in their last game. They're at Boston College and at Clemson to finish the season, so they can't afford to drop one of these.
Right. So as long as there's no slippage, they should be fine.
They have one more game left.
They have 2 games.
2 games left. Yeah.
So they're playing tonight and
Sunday.
Sunday. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They do have, looking at Virginia Tech, they do have a win over Georgia Tech. That was a high scoring game, 105-94.
Yeah.
Florida State blew them out pretty good.
Yeah.
And then Duke blew them out pretty good. Yeah, they've
those
had
are quality losses.
Yeah.
Those are quality losses.
But not like
I
that,
think-
though.
Huh?
I said, I mean, when you talk about quality losses, when you get blown out, I don't know how quality that is.
Well, that's funny. Quality in the sense of at least you lost to a ranked team and a tournament team. So not in the loss itself. The loss itself is not good. But
Virginia Tech, I think they need to win their last 2 games and maybe win a
I
game
think
in
so,
the
too.
tournament.
I
Because
think Charlie's
they really only have one quality win.
I think Charlie's being very generous. Charlie Cream is being very generous in having Virginia Tech in. I don't know if they are a solid tournament
Because
team.
even at Georgia Tech win is on the road, and it was double overtime. But yeah, I mean, it was close to Louisville. But
So-
we got beat by 30 by NC State.
So that's the
Louisville
back
too.
end. Yeah, that's the back end of the bracket. How close is Notre Dame to a number 1 overall seed?
Mm,
That
But-
NC State loss could not have come at the worst time.
I mean, but
it's a road game, close game.
Right.
15-1. They were the number 1 team, so I don't see them dropping that far.
Number 1 overall, though. That's what you're talking about.
Number one
though?
overall. Number 1 overall, though, is what I was thinking.
Somebody had to lose. Texas or UCLA would have to lose, and Notre Dame have
Yeah.
to win the tournament.
Correct.
Do you guys believe that if of the 4 that are projected to be the number 1 seeds, UCLA, Texas, Notre Dame, and now Charlie Cream has South Carolina on the 1 line and not USC?
How would he have them ahead of UConn?
I don't know. That's also a great question. That's also a great question.
Probably because each team is going to win. Probably should, or if each team win their conference championship.
Do we have Notre Dame winning the ACC conference? I know it's early. You don't have to. Well,
I mean, it's going to come down between them and either NC State or North Carolina.
you think so?
not
Okay.
I'm not sure where Florida State health-wise is, because they played their last game without the 2 guards. So I'm not sure where they are, where they stand health-wise. Maybe they are, preparing them for the tournament, or getting them healthy for the tournament. So it'd be interesting to see if they play tonight against Notre Dame, and if they don't, it's going to be a tough task, unless my girl go off again like she did against Notre Dame.
Yeah. The eye test tells me, honestly, I've watched UCLA play a couple of times now. I've watched South Carolina play. I honestly feel like Notre Dame has a legitimate claim to that spot. But I understand. I would not be angry if they didn't get the number 1 overall seed. But I understand. I don't know. In my mind, when I watch Notre Dame play and the way they smother teams and beat them with that intense on-ball defense, especially on the perimeter, I just feel like that's the best. And that's having watched all 4 top seeds: Texas, UCLA, South Carolina. I see Notre Dame and I go, I don't know what you're gonna do in a 1-game scenario to A, prepare for that if you've never seen it, and B, to stop them. You don't have a guard that fast on most teams, and you don't have a point guard that's that intelligent to stop Olivia Miles. Like, it's just a lot to take on, And then they're getting ridiculous play inside, like you've been talking about all season, Kendrick. So I don't know. I don't know. I give Notre Dame more than a puncher's chance in this thing.
I mean, you know, Notre Dame. I've been on Notre Dame since the summer. So
Same here. Yeah.
But I can see them not getting the overall number one seed, which at the end of the day is not that big of a deal. Please excuse me while I keep white bouncing my stupid camera. But
well, it could be It could be because I would think that the number one overall seed is going to avoid if UConn and South Carolina fall, or UConn and USC fall to the 2 line. You want to be the number one overall seed because you don't want to have to deal with that.
Yeah, because I think UConn's going to crawl up there to that 4th number one seed.
To that 4th number one seed? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you don't want to deal with Texas if you don't have to.
Because the thing is, my thing is USC and UCLA most likely one of them is going to lose in the conference tournament. One of them either going to play each other or they're not.
Right. They are for sure going to lose in their conference.
One of them's going to lose.
Right.
And so if UConn wins their conference tournament, which then I think they're going to crawl up to that number one. So most likely you're going to have to deal with either USC, UCLA, South Carolina, or LSU as your number 2 seed.
UCLA right now is currently, to your point, got LSU as their 2 seed. Texas has Iowa. If you're Notre Dame, you might want to fall to Texas's spot and get Iowa. That's a much easier path to the championship than.
How does Texas have Iowa as a 2 seed?
I don't know. That's where he's got them. He's got Texas in Birmingham in region, and Iowa is the 2 seed coming out of Raleigh, which would put them on a collision course at wherever their final Elite 8 game is. Huh?
You should have NC State. NC State would probably be a 3 seed.
Let's look and see. Well, you know what? Let's take a look and see together, shall we?
We're going by the
Sharing
rankings.
Is caring.
If we go by the rankings, just the rankings alone, they would be the number 1 3 seed.
Right. He's got NC State going to where are they?
They're gonna put them in Raleigh. Or
I would think they'd be in Raleigh, but they're in Raleigh. And he has them as the 2 seed in I'm sorry. You know what? Clearly my eyes are playing tricks on me this morning. Iowa is the 7 seed. Iowa's the 7 seed. And NC State is the 2. I reversed it. So, okay, that makes more sense. That makes a lot more sense. NC State is the 2 seed. That's a tough 2 seed. Jesus. For Texas.
But it's going to be tough for 1 and 2s. I mean, those games are going to be good. If they make it. I'd rather be a 2 seed than a 1 seed.
Yeah, South Carolina's reward is UConn.
Again?
So, yeah, they would get them again according to Charlie Cream. And then Notre Dame's reward is USC, which that's must-see TV right there. And he's got Louisville and Kentucky playing each other in the Sweet 16.
That would be crazy. Where would that game be at?
He has them at wherever. So Louisville. Oh, it'd be in Lexington.
No,
it'd be in Lexington.
So they play the first 2 rounds at home sites, or just the first round?
The higher seed, I think, plays the first 2 rounds at their home site. Yeah.
And then Lexington also has a regional site. I take it. Yeah.
It looks that way.
No, they have Louisville. Go back there. They got Louisville and UK playing in the second round, not the Sweet 16.
Was that a sweet? Am I looking at wrong? Boy, I'm off today. My game is off. Yes, you are correct, sir. Yeah, the 3 seed would meet the 6 seed. You are correct. Yep. In Lexington.
This camera's
So-
driving me crazy.
You are really struggling over there. So yeah, that'd be an interesting second round game. Kentucky has played extremely well all season long.
Kentucky beat Louisville in Lexington early in the season. Jada Curry did not play in that game though. So.
Yeah, I think that game would be far more competitive, and that game would be packed. By the way, for that one. So this is an interesting scenario. One thing about Charlie Cream too, he's not normally very far off from what is going to actually take place. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in there. I don't know. I like UCLA, LSU. That's interesting to me because I think LSU could beat UCLA if their guard play comes up, and they're going to have a distinct advantage there just from experience, obviously with Flage.
It's weird that LSU only has 2 losses and they're flying under the radar.
I don't hear anybody talking about LSU.
And like it's one of the few times when I agree with Kim Mulkey because she talked about it after that Kentucky game the other day. She's like, we're a good team and nobody's talking about it. So I'm like, you know what, Kim, you're right.
You're right about that. Listen, you can't be mad when she's right. She's right this time.
She actually had a couple good points in that game. She also brought up that the UK women don't play in Rupp Arena. They play in Memorial Coliseum. She's like, why don't they play in Rupp? Yeah.
That because you can't build a program from Memorial.
Well, they have renovated Memorial, and it is really nice. But I mean, when you're LSU, you playing in the big arena. When you're UofL, you're playing in the big arena. UConn plays in the big arena, and so I see your point, but I can also see Kentucky's point too.
Well, Kentucky has not.
It's the same as North Carolina. Their women
they have their own
play in their own gym.
Yeah,
where Michael Jordan and Bill Ford.
Yeah, they play in the old. Yeah. I can see where she's coming from, but I can also see Kentucky's side of it too. Like you want to have your own facility, even though the way that's set up is kind of weird because it's Memorial's where they play. The practice facility, the craft center, is built onto Memorial, so they still like share everything else with the men except when they play in Memorial. It's weird. It's a weird setup.
I understand her advocacy because she's right that if we're ever going to grow the game, we have to put women's basketball on equal footing. And to be fair, UK has put in, to me, when they hired the coach they have now, Kenny Brooks, that was a massive investment in them saying we're starting to believe in women's basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And that's no disrespect to anybody that came before. In fact,
Matthew Mitchell had it rolling. And
he had it rolling.
Kyra Elsie was good at first, and then kind of tapered off.
Yeah.
But they, they had Ryan Howard under Matthew Mitchell, and really, if Matthew Mitchell hadn't gotten sick, he'd still be there. That's why he's no longer the coach because he had an illness. They're putting the investment into it, and like I said, they did remodel Memorial Coliseum, which that's where Kentucky played.
So how many
8 off up days?
So how many seats does Memorial sit?
Well, it's all bleachers, and so the numbers the numbers can be a little skewed. So
it's a little, it's hard to.
It's probably 8 to 10.
Yeah, it's hard to quantify that.
So they don't have they don't have seat back chairs.
There might be a section, but for the most part, it's bleachers.
Yeah,
I mean it's literally where Adolph Rupp played.
It's Cameron Stadium. It's Cameron Stadium. Indoor. Yeah, indoor.
But the remodel that they did, it does look nice. They got nice big screens. They do have I think they have a few luxury suites in there now. They still, last time I checked, they still had the old school trough bathrooms. I don't know if they upgraded those or not.
Oh my God!
I don't know if they've upgraded those. I haven't been.
Not the trough bathrooms. Not the community experience. Wow.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's this could be very interesting this weekend to see how it all unfolds. The tournaments will play a part of this, but it feels like a lot of what's going to happen with the women is, for the most part, already been decided. Like, barring the only thing left to decide is truly what the top 4 or the top 8 will look like. And I think that'll be all contingent upon how they finish. The biggest mystery, like you said, Kendrick, is what happens with UCLA and USC, how that unfolds in the Big Ten championship game, and who wins that. And probably the winner will get, I don't know if the winner will get the number 1 overall seed, but they will for sure get the number 1 seed.
Depends on what Texas does. Yeah.
Right, and then depending on what Texas does, then they'll fall into play. On the men's side, it feels like there's not a lot left to decide. Although, to me, the standings are wildly confusing. So, because of Louisville's start, I guess, that's why they're not ranked 19th. Because they didn't start in the greatest way this season. They have the win over Clemson. They are ranked under Clemson. They're ranked 19th. Clemson is ranked 13th for some reason. Now, to be fair, Clemson has had an outstanding season. And I would even say the top 3 teams of the ACC have had an outstanding season. Duke, Louisville, Clemson, maybe 3 of the most dangerous teams in all of college basketball because of the style of play that they play, certainly because Cooper Flagg is for real. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with those 3 teams, both in the ACC tournament and in the national tournament. Well, you know what? I won't even do that. I'll just go show you what Joe Lunardi has them, where he has them placed right now, and we'll just kind of work it from there. Auburn, without question, is the number 1 seed. Though I don't trust Auburn, if I'm being honest.
Really?
How do you? Not as the best team in college basketball. No. No. I've watched them play against Alabama. I've watched them play against Arkansas. Those were 2. I watched them play a couple of games, and I was like, they are a good team. They are a strong team. They can be beat.
Well, that's everybody.
Well, what I'm saying is, when I think of a number 1 overall seed, I think of a team that unless you bring your A++ game, you're not going to beat them. I don't see that with Auburn. You could probably bring a B+ game, and because I don't know if they bring their A+ game every game. Like, I have not. They're good. Listen, I'm not taking anything away from Auburn. They're a very, very good team. I just don't know if they're as dominant as the eye test. I don't know.
25-2 in the best conference in the country, with only 1 loss in conference. It's pretty dominant. And they're winning all their games by double digits.
Well, you make a case. I like the case.
I mean, they just beat Ole Miss by 30. Georgia, who's weird, is wildly inconsistent. They beat them by 12. They had a good game with Arkansas. I mean, they went to Alabama and they controlled that game most of the game, won by 9. I mean,
if you had to pick Auburn today, would you, to win the whole thing?
The only reason why I wouldn't is just because they're one of those teams that I have to see them do it before I pick them, like Tennessee.
Yeah.
But hey, they beat Mississippi State, who was number 15 at the time, 88-66. They've been pretty dominant.
So I mean, it's very similar to.
And then
What
came back
Kendrick
to
is
Georgia
saying.
and won 70-66, 68, 2-point win.
Georgia's wildly inconsistent. They if I
Well,
was
go
a
ahead.
Georgia fan, they would drive me crazy.
Go ahead, Charlie. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying. I'm along with Kendrick. You know, they've shown in the past that they've had very good seasons, and then all of a sudden in the tournament, teams slip up on them that you normally didn't see coming. And maybe this year Janai Broom is the X factor or what have you, but
Morehead State, stand up, represent your boys, Lloyd.
Just saying. Just
I
saying.
I remember when Janai was at Morehead State. I mean,
Just saying.
yeah, represent your boys, Lloyd.
Yeah, but he ain't my boy no more. He's like Auburn's boy. So, so I can't give him that. I can't. But I'm gonna give him some love because at least he started with us. He's Joe Lunardi's got North Carolina, SMU out. He's got Wake Forest in. We'll pull up ACC.
Shout out IU. Ever since Mike Woodson said he's stepping down at the end of the year, they've won two of their last three, and they both of those wins against ranked opponents.
so is he
That'd be
still
three of their
there?
last four. Huh?
So is he still there?
Yeah, he's finishing out the season.
Yeah,
Well, that's good. Shout out to IU
yeah, that's
Well,
impressive. That's
for
actually good.
allowing him to stay.
So this is interesting. Joe Lunardi has Wake Forest, who is behind SMU in the standings. He has them making the tournament, and SMU out as his first four out.
Well, a lot of the stuff that ESPN has done with the bracketology has made zero sense. I mean, for the longest, they didn't even have Louisville. They had Louisville out, North Carolina in, when Louisville beat them by 10 points, and North Carolina was struggling at the time.
Yeah. I trust Joe Lunardi less than I trust Charlie Cream, though Joe gets a lot right, but Charlie gets most of it. But it may be easier also on the women's side to predict,
Yeah, it's furious.
what's going on.
Less parity.
But North Carolina should get in. I mean, they're 11-6 in the.
Yeah, they should now, but at the time, like maybe 2-3 weeks ago, they had Louisville with work to do, and Carolina automatically in when Carolina was struggling at the point, and I think Louisville was in the middle of their big win streak at that time. It's like, what are you talking about? And they beat North Carolina.
I'm looking at North Carolina 18-11. Let's take a look at their record. Just to
10-11. They've won the last 4 games.
They're trending in the right direction for sure.
Yeah, they're playing a lot better.
But they gotta show up against Duke though.
Yes.
Yeah.
They can't get blown out.
It'd be nice for them to see them steal one.
See, they'll
If they
beat
steal
Miami.
it, they're in. If they steal it, they're in.
At Virginia Tech will be tricky, as Louisville found out the other night.
Yeah.
They didn't do.
By the way, to
A lot of
Louisville
that was
fans
on Louisville,
who were complaining about that win, I don't think you understand. I question whether you understand sports at that point. Because
Go back and look at some of the posts from UK fans last night during that game.
I question whether I honestly question whether you understand sports. There are even the UNLV legendary, UK legendary, Michigan legendary teams had games where everything's not going that way, but they got.
UNLV almost lost to Ball State in the tournament.
That's what I'm saying. Like you don't get. It's very hard to blow teams out all year long. So you're gonna have some games where you're gonna have to grind the thing out, and so
I
that
think
was
the
just
thing
one of
with-
those games.
With Louisville, though, it's been a kind of a thing, is that they get big leads, and then they mess around and they lose focus, and the games end up closer. That's cost them against Georgia Tech. That was precisely what happened the other night at Virginia Tech.
Right.
And they've had a few games like that.
But they held on to that one. They were able to hold on to that one. So I don't know. This is on the men's side. There's not a lot to celebrating the ACC. Duke will definitely get. They'll probably be the second number 1 seed behind Auburn. I don't see anything changing that. Although Alabama is going to make a case for that as well. Go ahead.
I think the only way Duke doesn't get the second number 1 seed is if they are to lose another regular season game and then lose in the conference tournament. That's the only way.
Yeah, losing to North Carolina, which, by the way, because rivalry games are so weird, that is not out of the realm of possibility. Even though the game,
and I don't think that'll affect Duke if they lost that game.
I think they'll
losing in the conference. Now, if they lost that game and lost in the conference tournament, then it would.
Then that'd be problematic. That would absolutely. They still get the number 1 seed, but it would be kind of problematic for them a little bit. But other than that, I don't know if
losing Proctor is going to be interesting though, because he's going to miss some games. They say he'll be back this season, but he's going to miss some games with that bone bruise.
Really? Okay.
And even coming back from a bone bruise, I mean, he'll be back. But he's not going to be 100%.
No, he's going to feel that the rest of the season. Do you agree with a 7 seed for Louisville? A 7 seed?
No.
That seems a little.
If you go by the rankings, that's where they should be. But and if you go by rankings, it should be like a 5. But
right,
or
that
6.
That feels wildly.
But if you're Louisville, I mean, West Virginia would be tough. You get a rematch with Tennessee, you beat them by 100 at the Yum Center.
Yeah, this is not an ideal.
I think even though given Tennessee's proclivity to fall off in the tournament, I wouldn't put it past them to win that game.
And to your point, the Tennessee team that is playing now is not the Tennessee team that started the season. The fatigue of what they do has started to set in, and so now you're seeing they've kind of, not a lot because they're still winning, but they've kind of come back a little bit to the pack from what they were early in the season. So I don't know. It's interesting. And Louisville's playing a ton better than they were when they played Tennessee at the beginning of the season. So it would be an interesting game. I don't know. That one is peculiar. Where do they have Clemson going? Oh, Clemson, they got them. Oh man, going out west. Oofa. To Seattle. That is a haul.
Wow. That's clear across the country. Where was Louisville at?
They've got Louisville and Cleveland.
Oh, that's perfect.
They've got Louisville and Duke in the East.
Ooh,
that's a drivable. That's a drivable situation. Man, Clemson going out west. That is, talk about not getting rewarded for the hard work you did.
But they're probably going to be one of the top 5 or top 3.
Yeah, they have them as a 5th seed in San Francisco and Louisville as a 7th seed in Cleveland.
I don't know if I agree with that. Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that.
But they probably got all the SEC teams. And
Let's see. I see Vanderbilt right there. Go up a little bit. See Vanderbilt. They have them and Kentucky playing in Providence.
Yeah.
So that's a
haul. In Milwaukee.
Vanderbilt's in Milwaukee, which that's just straight up 65.
Right. Auburn's in Lexington.
But these guys they can fly.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about fans.
Yeah.
The fans, they don't care about the fans.
I'm just saying. Well, it don't matter where Kentucky is; they'll be there. I mean,
they'll be there. Their fans.
You was hearing the big blue chant down in Oklahoma last night. Like, who goes to Oklahoma in the middle of the week for a 9 o'clock game?
I often question 2 things about Kentucky fans. One, what are you doing for work? Because
they are a national brand, so it's probably pretty.
I'm hoping it's more of that. I'm hoping it's more of that, Kendrick, because I can't imagine on a random Wednesday saying, "Man, I should just go to Oklahoma." and go watch them play, and then turn around and come back to that's very strange. But
They were at that Texas game. Their motto is "Blue gets in." And they're at every game.
They got Missouri in Seattle, Texas in Denver, according to Joe Lunardi. He's spraying them all across the country.
Missouri.
Mm-hmm. Missouri's tough. I want to see them away from it. Only time I've seen them play is at home. I want to see them away from home, but when I've seen them at home, good.
Isn't it ironic that the Missouri basketball team shares the exact same qualities as the football team? When they're at home, they are incredibly hard to beat. But on the road, it's possible. It's the exact same quality as the football team. They are playing very well. They're going to be a tough out. They're going to be a tough out. I don't know if anybody. Well, I won't even do that. I'll do it this way. Kendrick, Charlie Ward, do you have a tournament favorite right now as of today? This is not your pick. This is just you saying, I'm leaning this way.
What do you mean tournament? Like to win the championship?
Yeah, to win it all. Who are you? Who have you seen? And you can say, I can see them winning this whole thing.
Men or women?
Let's start with the men. Since we're already here, let's start with the men.
Duke has a legitimate chance if they can get Proctor back. This is another piece.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to go against Auburn, but it's hard to be the top and stay at the top with this kind of parity.
Yeah.
So that's danger zone. It's tough. I don't know.
I think I think this could be the year where we get a team that we're not used to seeing winning the championship, win one, like a Houston.
Mm-hmm.
I like Houston. Yeah, they've been in the mix and been knocking on the door. Like I like a Houston. I do like Auburn. I've got my questions when it comes to Duke, if I'm being honest, because we've seen this Duke team before.
Yeah.
So it's very Paolo Banchero-ish. Going deeper down, man, keep an eye on Rick Pitino.
Listen. Hey.
Yeah.
I was watching them last night, and I'm going, man. This is looking.
Defense wins championships.
This
man.
is looking oddly familiar. I'm not gonna lie to you. We have seen this movie before. So that brings me to a great point. This is one of those years where I do believe the seeding combined with the style of the fighter is going to truly decide who the national champion is. Because there are some teams that we've been saying, oh, this team's can make a run, the Dukes, the Auburns. Yeah, but in certain stylistic fights, this is not going to work. Like, I love your Paolo Banchero comparison to Cooper Flagg, because that is exactly what it feels like. And I'll wait for one of you to tell me when was the last time we saw a individualized player-led team win a national championship. I don't remember the last time that's happened.
Danny Manning is better.
Right. So it's yeah.
So how far did the Paolo Banchero?
I think they got to the Sweet 16. Let me look that up, Charlie, while you guys keep talking. Because I'd like you to make your point around that.
They didn't get to the 4. And I didn't think about it until the other day. I saw somebody pointed out on social media talking about all the hype around Cooper Flagg. While I understand it, but there's like, they said when they were talking about him being the highest talent coming in to the draft, his numbers are almost identical to Paolo Banchero's when he was at Duke. But I think the reason why Cooper Flagg gets the hype, is because we have seen him play against NBA players, and when they played against Team USA, and he played really well against them. So I think that's where a lot of the hype comes from. among other things.
Well,
But
just FYI, it's not hype. The man is real.
he's real. No, don't get twisted. I think he's for real
So,
too.
I mean,
So-
that doesn't mean they're gonna win the championship. I'm just
Right.
saying he's a really, really good player, and
Yeah.
he's been that way for some years. He's just
Yeah.
I mean, you know, so
so
Yeah,
Just put that
don't
out
get me
there.
wrong. I believe in the kid too, but I'm just saying the hype train is coming from. We've seen him. We didn't see Paolo Banchero against NBA players. We've seen Cooper Flag, and he held his own, and so that's where the hype comes from.
I'm glad Google still is strong, and the AI component is good. They actually did get to the Final Four,
that's
Oh, they
what I
did?
thought.
and they played North Carolina.
That's what I thought.
Oh, that was that year. That was
That year. I forgot that was that year that North Carolina played.
That's what Coach K's last year.
Was it
right?
Michigan State? Was that who that was? They played.
Was,
I can't
was
remember
it?
who they played.
Was
it was
Coach-
two blue bloods that played in the final game. I do remember.
But
that.
wasn't that the coach the
It
year
was
when?
North Carolina.
No,
No.
I think this was the year right after, or I think Coach K was not the coach of that team.
Or
If I'm not mistaken, I don't think he was the coach of that team. But I've been
Okay.
off all morning, so just
yeah, I mean, Coach K, he's he was the coach because
Was he the coach of that team?
Yeah, Shire was the next coach, right?
because that was in 2022. That was in 2022.
Shire's took over. Shire hadn't made it to the final four.
He has not made it to the final four. Okay, so
Yeah, so
only
that was
only,
Coach. That was when Hubert beat Coach K, and then Coach K.
that was his
career in
last
the Final
year.
Four then.
That was his last year. I think that was his last year.
Okay. So I was thinking
Okay.
Paolo's team didn't get to the Final Four, but
I was thinking it too. Honestly, I was thinking it too, but I couldn't remember. What. I know John Shire has not gotten to the final four.
So it would have been Coach K. Yeah.
So in my head, I was thinking. So this makes a lot more sense because, Coach K, is gonna make a run. He's gonna figure it out. I still don't love a single player. I just don't love it. It's because it's a rare thing. It's a rare thing for a one player dominant team to make a significant run, especially now with so much parity.
They don't have just one player. That's
Well-
what makes them. So
One player led, like like they're leaning so much on his
well,
ability.
that's every team. So if you take Janai Broom off of, out of Auburn's team, I mean they're
They're
a
a
regular
different team.
team.
Yeah, they're a different team. Yeah.
And so I know he was out for a few games and they were able to manage, but if you're playing against really, really good competition, you need a dominant guy on every team. And the reason I say that is because if you don't have that guy, it makes life so much harder for everybody else if you don't have a guy that a team has to say, if we don't stop this guy or we don't make it difficult on him, it's hard. I mean, it makes it so much easier for everybody else. I mean, you take Michael Jordan, you take all these superstars or megastars off of teams that were like the main focal point. It just makes it hard for everybody else, regardless of what kind of talent. As we saw with Michael Jordan when Pippen took over and all those teams, it was just different.
Yeah. So Charlie, I will ask you this question, Coach, but I'm really asking Coach Junior this question. Would you prefer to enter the NCAA tournament with a dominant one, meaning a star player, and great role players surrounding him, i.e. a Duke or an Auburn, or would you rather have a team, a 5 team like a Louisville that's playing well 1 through 5, but they're led by Chucky Hepburn, but everybody's making significant contribution. The Rain Smiths, or whatever. So, what would be your preference going into the NCAA tournament?
To me, I think every team is the same. If you're at the top,
Okay.
even though you may have 5 guys that you can depend on, all these other teams have the same thing. I mean, they have guys around them that you can depend on.
Because the roles have been defined at this point.
100. And
Yeah.
even but the toughest part is when you don't have a quote unquote guy that you can go to. Who is that guy? That is the thing. That's the thing in tough games. Who's gonna be the one that you give the basketball to and say, go make a play for us. Whether it's you take the shot or you get a great shot for someone else. If you can't be dominant or you don't have that dominant player to where they have to feel like if we don't double this guy or get the ball out of his hands, we're gonna be toast. But what that does is it opens it up for everybody else. And I think that's the difference when we start talking about, best teams or player led teams. If I get a ball to Cooper Flag, uh, antennas up. I mean, as a coach, you're saying antennas up. And so you know that you're going to get a quality shot for the most part if you give it to that guy. I just, I mean, I just don't know. Like if you have a five player led team where you don't have a dominant player that can get you a quality shot. Every time he touches the basketball, it's a hit or miss. But that doesn't mean it can't be successful that way either. I think it's a matter of when it's all said and done. The key is on the offensive end, how do we get quality shots when we need them? Now, who's going to make that play? And if you have multiple guys that can do it, that gives you more opportunities for those guys to stand up. But you definitely need somebody that you can feel comfortable with, making plays for everyone else.
And that's because that's kind of what Hepburn is for Louisville.
Yeah.
The thing with because they have other guys that are major contributors between Terrence Edwards and Javon Hadley, but if we're coming down the stretch, the ball's going to start in Chucky Hepburn's hand, and he's either going to get a bucket or he's going to drive and get somebody else a bucket.
And with the game
you can't stay in front of him 1-on-1.
Yeah,
but what worries me though with Louisville, because I think it's what kind of is the problem when they get those big leads and they lose them. Chucky's the only one that you really trust handling the ball. It's like Terrence Edwards kind of is good at it, but he can get really wild and loose with his dribble, and he kind of dribbles it really hard, to be honest with you, and he dribbles it way out in front of him. And so if Hepburn's getting pressured and he has to give the ball to somebody else, a lot of times things can go haywire with them. And so that worries me with a team that's going to pressure the ball a lot when they get to the tournament, because they do turn the ball over a lot. They had a ton of turnovers in that Virginia, and Chucky was turning the ball over like crazy. And so protecting the ball.
Get it out of your system, Chucky. Get it out of your system.
That is my concern with Louisville. Like he's a smaller guard, and if they put a bigger person on him that can stay in front of him, where are they going to get a quality shot from? And I hope they go deep in the playoffs. The other thing is, the connectivity. I think they've been connected, but they're a relatively new squad, in this whole mix as well. And so it'd be interesting to see how they gel together. I know they gel well together throughout this season, which is commendable, but they do have like quite a few guys who are just
they're all new.
Yeah. So
this is a different pressure coming up now. It's a different pressure than just
the good thing. What they do have in their corner is, while they all are new players and haven't played, they all have played in the NCAA tournament. They all have tournament experience, and that helps. And then, like,
100%.
and I tell you, the one I've been impressed with the most, of course, Chucky, but Javon Hadley
Yeah.
on the low post is amazing because
Did
it
not
doesn't
see
matter.
that coming.
No, because it doesn't even matter if it's a bigger guy on him. He can get his shot down in the low post, and Javon's like 6'4". And he's not even like that big of a guy, but he is very good at finishing around the basket, and I think that's going to be key for them going forward in terms of.
Gentlemen, if you had to, on the women's side, lean towards someone right now, who are you leaning towards to win the whole thing? Just you're leaning. Yeah, this is not your pick. You're just leaning right now.
I'm sticking with the Irish.
Yeah.
I wouldn't sleep on UConn.
No, because they've got that player.
Well, they may have that two players.
They got two of them.
They may have that
They
two
two
players.
of them.
I live in a world now, in my mind, where I can easily see it. And this is all contingent of the NCAA not screwing this up in the bracketing. But I live in a world now where I am absolutely looking at the possibility of a UConn Notre Dame final game. That feels, and solely for what you just said, they have that two players. Because that's the one thing that most teams do not have. They don't have two players that you can put the ball in their hands at the end of the game and you feel comfortable with their decisions. But Fudd and Becker's on one side, Hidalgo and Miles on the other.
My CTV.
It feels like we're headed toward, and I would not have said that at the beginning of the season. I was all in on Juju, and South Carolina was playing so well, and I'm thinking, okay, collision course, and here comes UCLA and Betts. She's playing well. Although Betts is a lot more limited than I thought she was. Like, I hadn't seen her playing much, and then I started really watching. I'm like, you really don't have a lot to your game. Like, you're a strong girl. She's got a power game. She's essentially Big Country. If you remember Big Country from,
I'm not gonna disrespect her like that.
No, that's not that. No, that's not disrespect. Because in college, Big Country was dominant. Now, he wasn't a dominant pro, but in college he was very dominant. If you remember him, he was very dominant
until they played a ranked team.
Well, hey, I'm telling you.
My fear with Betts is because it's a fear that I don't have with the other players, is because the other players they can just take the ball. Betts, you have to get her the ball, and so you're depending upon guards being able to make interior passes, which can be difficult. And so that's my only fear with her. But even that,
well,
I'm like,
that USC game was very revealing. Because they basically, it's ironic that the USC game, the strategy to beat Betts was the exact same strategy the Lakers employed with Jokic, which is, this basketball is not a new game. Some of the stuff is just, 101. They fronted him. They had somebody on the backside and they fronted him. Same thing that they did with Betts. Juju was the help. She's kind of like a rover, and she just kept blocking. I think she blocked the shot like 3 times.
She usually has that length to do that.
But she has.
But not every team has that.
Not every team has that. So it was an interesting game. She's going to dominate most teams, but as the pool shrinks, and the talent begins to evolve, it's going to be hard for her because she just doesn't have. She's not going to give you spins off the post. She's not going to give you up and unders. That's not what she does. She's a power player inside, and if you get her the ball in the right spot, she can put the ball in the basket.
She gets buckets.
And that's what she does. So as long as you don't have a strategy to stop her once she hits the block and gets positioning, then you're going to get beat by her. So they're an interesting team. But if I had to pick today, Man, I'm leaning toward what you said, Charlie. UConn looks. It's Gino, man. It's Gino, and he's got a backcourt. How you betting against that? Like, that's.
At
Now,
experienced backcourt.
How you betting against that? That's a hard bet.
And they have solid players too. So
Yeah, 100%. So,
Around the-
boy, it's gonna be fun. March is gonna be fun. My goodness.
I
it's gonna be
mean,
fun.
just going out with the Michigan State half court shot last night.
Oh,
And
what a great
all-
way to kick off the
Yeah, and then the way Otega Oweh just took over the game for Kentucky last night. If anybody didn't see that, I mean that he scored 23 of their last 25 points. Comes through, he drives the lane, gets the layup to give them the lead, then comes down and makes a defensive play to win the game, to seal the game. So he was amazing down the stretch, especially when you think about the injuries. Jackson Robinson re-injured his wrist. Lamont Butler fouled out. Nobody was doing anything on offense for Kentucky in that second half until he took over. So Otega, I've been big on that kid from day one at Kentucky, and he was amazing last night. Of course, he used to play at Oklahoma, so he's playing his whole team. So he had a little bit extra motivation. They was booing the kid every time he touched the ball. And I mean, there can't be a better feeling in sports than you go through and do that to your old team on their floor.
Your old team, yeah,
on their court.
Charlie, you guys got a huge game tonight. Florida State, Notre Dame, friend of the pod, I think, or soon to be friend of the pod, TaNiya, is going to go up against Hannah Hidalgo. That feels like must-see TV to me. Can they pull off the upset?
like I said, I don't know if the 2 point guards are healthy, and if they're going to sit out this game.
Oh, they made the play. Okay.
If they're going to sit out this game or play this game, and then they have another game on Sunday against Duke. So it'll be interesting to see if they're healthy enough to play tonight. If they're not playing, that's TaNiya and OMG, Lamar and Gordon.
Could be a long night.
It could be tough, but they were able to beat Georgia Tech. They had some other young ladies step up and play well. They still have Kiki there in the middle, which is she's been very good all season as well. So
she's averaging a double-double, isn't she, Charlie?
Yes. If I had to guess, I'm not looking at it, but if I had to guess, I'm sure.
I think she is. I think we looked it up before, yeah.
So it's going to be a tough night for them, regardless who it is. But they got to win one out of these last two to kind of keep their position in the seeding, I should say, in the ACC tournament. I don't know if that's already decided or not, but they're kind of in the middle, right at the top tier, back end of it. And they're fighting, I think, Duke, and they're right there with North Carolina.
Well, they're all there together.
Louisville.
Yeah, they're all there together. Louisville, Florida State, Duke. North Carolina is a one game ahead. But, again, this final two games will tell probably the story. So this is an interesting weekend.
Notre Dame getting game day on Sunday. Getting women's game day on Sunday. Yeah.
Okay.
The Louisville game. Yeah,
okay.
for the Louisville game day is going to be there.
Okay. So this is an interesting weekend, to say the least. Some teams jockeying for final positions. Potential first-round buys. This will be an interesting weekend. It's going to be a fun weekend to watch.
And that's one thing that Louisville's got to watch, too, because they've already clinched a double bye in the ACC, so they need to
the menuing. The menuing.
Yeah, the men. I'm sorry. The men.
Yeah. No, you're fine.
They have to keep from getting complacent because you're still fighting for your NCAA bid, and so you gotta keep the foot on the gas. They have Pittsburgh on Saturday,
So who gets the double bye? How many teams?
It's the top three, right?
Top four.
3 is a 4. Might be the top. It might be top. It might be top.
I think it's the top 4. We'll have that definitively, obviously next week. But I think it's the top. I'm pretty sure it's the top 4.
Look at it real quick.
Yeah, you can look for. Oh, great! See, that's a teamwork makes.
So you're looking at Duke, Clemson, Louisville, and SMU.
Yeah.
Essentially.
On the men's side, you mean, Charlie?
Yes, on the men's side.
Yes. Duke, Louisville, Clemson, SMU would get the top as of today. Now,
So
the men have another week to go, and it is possible for a Wake Forest or a North Carolina, if SMU were to spit the bit, it's possible for them to lose it. It's more likely that Duke and Louisville are locked in, Clemson's locked in. It's SMU that has they're on the shaky ground.
So North Carolina,
Yeah.
so they have they have Miami, at Virginia Tech, and Duke left.
Yeah, the top 4 seeds, real quick. The top 4 seeds get the double bye.
That's what I thought. Yeah, that's a good schedule for them
Which
to
they can. I mean, they're playing Duke at home,
yeah.
and they have Virginia Tech on the road, so they could easily win 2 out of the 3, but definitely have a chance to win all 3 of them if they play well at home.
What does
Against
SMU
Duke.
have left? What does SMU have left right now? SMU has Stanford, Syracuse, and Florida State left.
And they
Is that
could
right?
they could easily run.
They probably should run the table. I would imagine they'd be favored in all 3 of those games.
Where are they
Right.
playing Stanford though? I guess they're
Stanford's
playing
at
them at home.
Stanford. That's Stanford's at Stanford. Florida State's at Florida State. So they're two of the last 3 are on the road.
Oh, that's right, because that's Coach Ham's last game.
Yeah.
Um,
By the way,
that's
Coach
it.
Ham was great in the post-game press conference on Saturday. He was fantastic.
Was he? I didn't even. What did something
I
happen?
mean, it wasn't nothing crazy. He was just being Coach
Okay.
Ham.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Talking about Claudia Sanders. for those who don't know, Claudia Sanders is the original KFC.
Yes. Yes. I don't know. SMU and Wake Forest down the stretch feels like SMU will get it, but I would not sleep on Wake Forest's opportunity or North Carolina's. It is probably more likely that SMU is probably not going to move though. It's probably more than likely. The schedule sets up very well for them.
They won the other night, right? They beat California.
Who's that?
Yes, SMU
SMU.
beat California.
SMU, yes. Mm-hmm.
But they got that double where they play California and Stanford.
Sneaky great guard play for SMU too. I know people have forgotten that since the Louisville game and the way that turned out, but they got a decent point guard as well. So I don't know. SMU could be one of those sneaky teams that
I can
if
see
you're not
them
paying
losing.
attention,
I can see them losing to Florida State.
you can see it. Okay.
I can see
Just
SMU making some noise in the conference tournament.
Yeah, because I mean it's all about getting hot at the right time, you know.
And the other sort of good thing about being in the middle, especially with the California trip is not as long. I mean, it's still long,
Right.
but it's not as long.
Yeah, not as far from
And
Dallas.
so-
So.
So it's so that's probably a benefit for them. I know other teams that have traveled out there and played this double. They come back and it takes them like 2 weeks to recover.
Mhm.
Well, let's say in other news, gentlemen, the draft is coming quickly, and the combine is this weekend, and there is no hotter name coming into the draft as a sleeper than Louisville's very own Tyler Shuck. He is scorching hot right now. There's a huge article in USA Today about the top 10 sleepers, and Tyler is at the top of that list. It is at this point. It appears that it is just a matter of where he's going, but it looks like somebody's going to take him. Some other notable names: Daquan Felton from Virginia Tech. who else from the ACC perspective? I think those are the only sleeper names that are being mentioned. But Tyler, are you surprised at Tyler Shuck's meteoric draft rise?
No, he just had injuries. But when he's performed, when he's stayed upright and hadn't missed time, he's been fantastic. He was fantastic for Louisville last season. So I'm not. I mean, I knew he was an NFL quarterback. I didn't know where he'd be drafted. I figured he'd be a second day draft pick, like maybe third round, and probably still going to be a second or third round pick. But no, I'm not surprised at all. I mean, he's got the mechanics. He can run if he needs to. He's got a nice arm. I think he can make just about all the throws. And I'm not surprised at all. The only reason why he's still in college is because he was injured. if he hadn't gotten injured, he'd have been already in the NFL.
Charlie, what are your thoughts?
I agree. Kendrick, like I said, he was at Oregon for a good minute, and then he went to Texas Tech. But the only thing that was kind of holding him back was his injuries, because he couldn't stay on the field. And then last year, Louisville, you kind of saw his true ability come out, especially being in the Coach Braun system. You could see him elevate his game to the new level. But I mean, these things are very tricky. You never know, how they're gonna be. But I'm happy for him because he's hitting it at the right time. When it's around draft time and going through this whole process, he's starting to get his name out there and give himself the opportunity. We've seen quarterbacks do this. Then they go on, and sometimes they hit and sometimes they don't, depending upon where they go. But I'm just happy that he's taking advantage of his opportunity to rise, because you want to be rising at this point of your career, especially when it's draft time. Whether it's throwing the football, whether it's running, or whatever it may be, interviewing. You want to be on the rise during this time, for sure.
A question,
and he's going to interview well.
100%.
He'll interview well.
A question I don't think either of us have ever asked Charlie is one I'm about to ask now. Charlie, did you go to the combine?
Not this one.
No, when you were coming out, Charlie.
I mean, your combine.
That's what I'm saying. Not this one.
You went to the NBA combine.
I was
really.
I was playing basketball. I was playing basketball.
Yeah, he's in the middle of the basketball season. So
that's right. I guess technically you could not have gone to the combine. That's a great point, Charlie. Yeah. Do you think that had as much to do about what happened with you as anything?
It was a part.
Okay. Because I can't imagine you having gone. Every time I look at the draft, the last few years since we've been doing
you couldn't even have a pro day, could you, Charlie?
Yeah, I had pro day.
Oh, you did have a pro day. Okay.
Yeah.
Every time I
went to the combine, the second one, where the doctors evaluate you because I had an injury. I had injuries.
Every time I look at the draft now, especially the last 5 years, and I think about the player that you were, I just think about, my God, the level of money that Charlie Ward would be making right now would be insane.
Head of your time, Charlie.
My God, it would be. You'd be. You don't let yourself.
You wouldn't be sitting here with us.
Well, I'd like to think that he would, Kendrick. And somehow the good Lord would have conspired to have him still with us.
Good.
But I agree with you.
God works in mysterious ways.
God works in mysterious ways.
We are more than happy for it.
but you're probably right.
I did well.
Yeah,
well,
I think he did all right. He's not in the galaxy room anymore, but he did all right for himself.
You've done quite well, Charlie.
There's no quasars going over his head.
Yeah. You've done quite well. Okay.
We're grateful for you, Charlie.
We are very grateful. I want to start. I know we're going to do shout outs. I want to start and give a collective melancholy shout out to the great Gene Hackman. I was actually working late last night, And as soon as I wrapped up what I was working on, immediately that hit my my feed, and I was like stunned because of the circumstance. I don't really understand still yet what the circumstances are surrounding the totality of his passing, because I know it was not only him, but it was also his wife that passed, and
the family dog.
Yeah, and the dog, which suggests, though they have not come out. I haven't gone back to the news.
I'm not going to speculate, but yeah.
Right, but it suggests that something is amiss.
And they said they're not. They don't expect foul play. So
they don't suspect that he's but he's 95 and she's 64. So I don't know.
Who is this?
Gene Hackman, the actor. Yeah. Gene Hackman.
He's 95.
He was, yeah.
Wow. Shout out to Chad Major, who was on top of it this morning. It says he seems like, I guess the reports are coming out that it may have been carbon monoxide.
Ooh. Yeah, I kind of thought that too.
Wow. That's tough. That's why you always have to do smell checks constantly in your house, because you're right, that is a silent killer, and you gotta pay attention to the little things, like because gas leaks are tricky, man. They are so tricky, and you just never know. But it's tough, man. Gene Hackman, a legend, an all-time great, and I can't say gone too soon because he was 95. So,
but his wife is 60.
His wife. Yeah.
Listen, Charlie.
She's a classic pianist.
Yeah, she was a talent in her own right. She had her own game. But Charlie, when you get
95 and 64,
Charlie, I feel like you're focusing on the wrong thing, man. I feel like you're focusing on the wrong thing, bro.
Love has no age, Charlie.
Listen, Charlie. Love is love. We're gonna leave it at that. We're not gonna touch this, Charlie.
Hey, shout out to the OG.
It happened, Charlie. All I'm saying is, it happens. It's a thing. It's a weird thing, Charlie. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's a strange thing, but it is a thing. So there you go. Okay. Full disclosure. So Charlie's not here by himself. I saw the age difference and was like, what? Like, wow, that's kind of a sizable gap. That's a very sizable gap. It's a 30-year gap. I don't know.
Bill Belichick and his girl. I mean,
also true. 75, 24.
That's a bigger gap.
75 and 24.
That is the gap.
Belichick 75.
He's 75, 72, 75. He's in there somewhere. He's in his 70s. He's in his 70s.
24.
And she has not bust 30. Yes, it's a very sizable gap, Charlie.
That is crazy.
It's different, is what I'm going to say. We're not going to see Charlie.
He's 72.
He's only 72. I gave him 3 extra years. But she's about 24, right? Or 25.
Well, like he said.
And by the way,
because the funny thing is, if you type in Bill Belichick, and the second thing that comes up is Bill Belichick girlfriend age.
Listen, and by the way,
she's 23, Charlie.
Oh, she's 23, so I aged her too fast.
She's still in college.
I actually aged her too fast. That's my fault. That's my fault.
They also have a business relationship. She does do some business for him.
I don't even want to touch any of what you just said. I'm just gonna say.
I'm only up and up. She does like she's kind of like an agent or something like that.
I'm just gonna say that love apparently is love, and
exciting.
She seems very happy when they're together. I personally don't understand it, but
shout out to the OG.
It's legal, Charlie. It's legal.
It is.
That's the other thing. It's legal.
It is.
Yeah, she's not 18.
She's not 18. She's not 17, Charlie.
It doesn't matter. Like, what's the difference? Because you're thinking about the same. It's the same thing.
One makes you.
She's not a minor.
One makes you a creepy old man. The other makes you.
He's still a creepy old man. So, he's a legal creepy old man.
I'm saying, right. But kid you, one makes you a creepy old man. The other makes you Diddy. So you want to be on the creepy old man side.
Jared from Subway.
Right, or Jared, right. So if you're gonna fall somewhere on this spectrum, you want to fall on the creepy old man side. Like that one keeps you out of jail at least. Now you don't have a lot of friends.
Hey,
your friends are staying away.
It's a tale as old as time.
Probably not going to get a lot of calls for double dates and invites to dinner because that's weird.
Yeah, right. He's going. They going out with him.
I can't do it.
His dirty old man buddies are going out with him just so they can stare at her the whole time.
I can't do it. I have a standing rule that we have to have seen some of the same cartoons and listen to some of the same music for us to be. I can't. Whoa, man, that's something. But apparently, Bill Belichick is a performance-based coach, and he believes in. I'm just saying.
We'll see. I mean, it's definitely keeping them young.
Yeah, that man's happy.
He's happy. He's got his dream job and his dream girl. So what he's living his best life. What can we do? But yes, this started with Gene Hackman, and there was a 30-year gap. So there you go. I don't know what to say any more than just that.
Let's go to shout-outs.
Let's go to shout-outs. Let's stay on the air and go to shout-outs. Let's do that. Yeah. Who are you shouting out, Charlie Ward?
Of course, I'm going with the Florida State Seminoles baseball team. They're off to a good start. They're 8-0.
Ooh, that is a good start.
Right now. I think they're 8-0. But, the beginning of the year, you kind of want to start out that way. I think they're in the top 10. The last time I checked, they were in the top 10. I'm so very excited about them playing well or off to a good start.
I mean, they probably are in the top 10. There's so many baseball polls. I mean, they could be in the top 10 somewhere. Yeah. Baseball. They have way too many.
They're definitely in the top 10. It's just a matter of how it unfolds.
There's another one. I'm trying to.
These Louisville and Florida State don't play till late. It's April.
What's that?
Oh wow.
April 25th is when that series is.
There was a couple other people. You can come back to me.
Okay.
All right. Well, since we're on the base, I'll shout out U of L's baseball team. They're off to a 6-1 start. Opened the season with a 4-3 win over Texas in Arlington, and stumbled against Oklahoma State and rebounded to beat number 12 Arizona 13-1. So they've been off to a hot start. They won 15-11 yesterday. So they're off to a hot start. But most importantly, shout out to our friend of the program, Jada Curry. Tonight is senior night for the U of L women's basketball team. And the game starts at 6 o'clock, which is a very hard time for me to, be at stuff for the senior night festivities. But
because you got a job. That's why.
Because we have a 6 o'clock
actually news on the air. There you go.
But she reached out to me, and so I shifted some things. So I'm gonna be there for Jada. And so
you have to go.
I gotta go. There's one of those touching moments when when your former intern reaches out to you and asks you to be there for her senior day. It's touching to me. So shout out to her. I will be there tonight. I had to move some things around. I'm going to be there tonight. And so shout out to her and shout out to playoff basketball. We're in tournament time here in Kentucky in high school basketball. We're in district play now. big game tonight, Male and St. X for the district championship. And so
There you go.
shout out to all high school basketball players in the area.
I too want to shout out the lovely Miss Curry and congratulations on a fantastic career. And then I also want to get, I'm good. I love a good petty. I love a good petty. I'm a big fan. I want to give a shout out. Want to give a shout out to the Green Bay Packers for wanting to put a stop to this ungodly tush push.
Oh, that's who it was. That
It appears that it was the Green Bay Packers that filed a complaint to the league and would like to see the tush push banned from
I'm surprised
all
it took
things
this long.
sports. It's not going to happen. It's
well,
not
why?
gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna get some tweaks.
You think so?
I think
Really?
the player safety.
Yeah, they're gonna deem
That's
it as
the
player
angle.
safety, and they're gonna remove the aiding. They're gonna find a way to word it.
They're gonna tweak it. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
So-
the push from behind that I think might get nullified, but the rest of it's not going anywhere because that's a football play. It's a quarterback sneak. It's essentially a quarterback sneak plus.
The plus is the problem.
The plus is the part. The plus is the part, but you can't remove
Yeah.
a quarterback sneak from the game. But you
Yeah,
can
I
remove
think
two
they'll
people
rem-
standing behind the quarterback. Yeah, that part.
Yeah, I think that's going to be adjusted. I'm just surprised it took that long because the tush push has been around now for 3 years. I'm surprised
However long Jalen Hurts has been there, it's been there, right?
And so, because
the
I know
most part.
they were doing it in the Super Bowl the last time they were in the Super Bowl. Not
Right,
this
it's
time,
been-
but the last
it's
time.
been
So-
there for
so
quite-
that was 2 seasons. So that's 3 years right there.
Yeah.
And so I was surprised. I'm surprised it made it through the first season, let alone got to the third before somebody complained. Because like the funny thing is, like even the Eagles' offensive linemen hate that play.
the tush push to
It hurt
me.
them too.
The tush push to me is as egregious as the Euro step is in basketball. Like that's traveling. I don't care. You can say it 1,000 times, but it's traveling, man. You
Euro
can't
step
take
is
that
not a
many
travel.
steps.
The Euro step's not. Now,
Well,
I'll-
I'm talking about the James Harden Euro step. The
I'll give you-
James Harden.
I'll give you the gather step as a travel.
The gather step is what I meant. I'm sorry. I'm confusing steps. The gather step is traveling, but it's egregious.
Egregious, I say.
It's egregious, I say. Bully.
Charlie, do you remember your other shout out?
yes.
We tried to buy. I tried to buy you some
We're
time.
going softball. Just some love for the women softball, and it's not FSU.
What?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, who is it?
I think it's Acacia Anders from California.
Okay.
These are the softball players of the week. Acacia, I think that's her name. Acacia Anders was the player of the week, and then Dukes Cassidy Curd was the pitcher of the week.
Oh.
So shout out to
Are-
them.
Is this a new segment we're starting? The softball players of the week. I like it. I'm here for it.
I just want to give some different love, even though Florida State's not in it this time. Even though Mrs. Carp, I think is her name, she was the first player of the week. She's at FSU. She's a really good player.
Charlie, I am fully on board with softball player of the week. So if you want to start that as a running segment, I'm all in.
Oh,
I just thought about we should shout out all the players of the week every week.
It's
We
Kennedy
should.
Harp.
We should start doing that.
Kennedy Harp. She was the first week, February 11th.
Okay.
We haven't
I
had any
think we-
pictures yet.
I think we've made a collective agreement. From now on, we're shouting out the players of the week in the ACC. We're going to make sure that's a new segment here going forward. Thank you, Charlie. That's a more than substantive contribution there. There you go.
Alyssa Zabelli is
Okay.
from Louisville. She was the pitcher of the week along with Emma Limley. February 18th week. So shout out to Alyssa Zabelli. Is that how you say her name?
Sure.
Yes, that's perfect pronunciation.
The person, really, main person I know with U of L softball is the SID.
So maybe you can give him a call or her a call too.
But they've actually started the season out well on the softball side of things, and they just had a blowout victory the other day. So yeah, shout out to the U of L women's softball team. They are off to they actually do have decent seasons. They just kind of falter in the tournament. They're off to an 11-5 start. They've already played 16 games.
Softball plays a lot of games.
Yeah. They have a 22-2 win under their belt. Their next game is February 19th already passed. Next game is Friday. They play Central Michigan. So shout out to them.
So how did she get away from Florida? Curve. She's the pitcher, and she's from Port St. Lucie.
Looks like you all let one go, Charlie, down there in Tallahassee.
See.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, listen, gonna be a great weekend of basketball excitement. Stay tuned. We're headed toward a phenomenal March, which is one of my favorite times of the year, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But as we we'll have everything you need on the ACC side right here on Believe in the ACC. That is the great Kendrick Haskins. That is Charlie Ward. I'm Lloyd Spence, and let's whistle on our way on out the door. Here we go.
My dreams come true.